This is Real Talk with Jasmine Marie, brought to you by blackincleveland.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am here and I'm so excited about this interview I'm doing today with the one and only, the legendary Meechie. How are you doing today?
I am great.
Meechie, honestly, when our creator of blackincleveland.com, Alvin Smith, gave me my list of people I had to interview, and he had Meechie on there, I was genuinely excited because you are really dope to me in so many ways, like genuinely. I love your work ethic. I love your creativity. I love how you hustle and you go after things that you want. And I was like, I get to sit at her feet and pick her brain. I just found that to be a huge honor. So I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So when I think about you and all your success, of course, I just go back to the beginning. And I just want to know, how did you get here? And I remember a couple years ago hearing you keynote speak at a sipping shop downtown, and you were talking about you save this article that you keep because people counted you out. You weren't supposed to be here. So can you take us all the way back there and bring us to how you even became who you are and just a little bit of the path of, I'm going to become a stylist. Just start there. I know you do so many other things, but let's just start off. When did you say, I'm going to become a stylist? And how did you get to that path?
Wow, that's amazing that you even remember that article. I still have that article. I will keep that article for the rest of my life. Basically, what the article entailed was that, I was just a troubled teen.
Okay.
I had just moved to Cleveland at the age of 14. So, ninth grade, you're in high school, you're trying to fit in. I knew no one here. Like, I could have literally changed my name and no one would have known.
Okay.
So I'm trying to fit in with the crowd. I'm living off Euclid Avenue, Cliffview.
Right. Okay.
So drug heaven pretty much.
Yes.
So it was just like whoever was willing to be my friend, I was willing to do whatever I had to do. And behind that, I end up going to a detention home. So I was only in a detention home for about 30 days, but that was the beginning of me becoming my own person and not being a follower. So a lot has happened behind that, but that definitely was the starting point of, Meechie just embracing herself and following her own path.
And that article reminds you of that? Like, people tried to count me out. And so, and then you just saying, I have my own voice. I'm not going to be a part of this. I would have a vision for myself. And that was a turning point for you.
That was the turning point. That was you're not going to fit in. You're going to stand out.
That's amazing.
Yes.
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 So did you always want to be a stylist? Or was this like when you were a little girl, did you know you wanted to be in the beauty and fashion industry? How did that come about?
You know what? I've been doing hair. Literally, I started doing hair on my front porch on the steps. I used to braid the little girl's hair on my street for maybe like $2 or $3.
Okay.
But I never really considered that this could become a career until I was in the 12th grade. Like, I literally did hair all through high school. My house stayed full of people. My mother used to go like nuts because as soon as I got out of school, I was at home doing hair. So even with a small child, I had my daughter, at the age of 18, and I was just doing hair at home, and it just clicked like this can really become a career because I had signed up for college and everything. But I said, I really think this could be good for me.
Okay, so you go get your license and you start working where?
The first salon I ever worked at was called Picture Perfect.
Okay.
I was 19 years old, and she actually allowed me to work in there before I got my license. Because the funny thing about me is I'm not really like a book reader. I don't like to follow instructions. I just like to be like a hands-on person.
Yes.
So I refused to study for this state board test. So I failed the test twice.
Okay.
And if I would have failed the test one more time, I would have had to go back to cosmetology school. But I ended up getting my license. But that 4 or 5 months, before I got my license, this really nice lady named Michelle, she actually let me work in her salon without my license.
Okay, so that's even awesome that you told everybody that you actually failed your test twice.
Yes.
So don't let failure stop you because it's a whole lot following that.
Exactly.
Okay, so you work at this salon, and then when do you say, okay, I'm going to open up? Because it was only 2 years later, right?
2 years.
You had your license for 2 years, and then you started to work for yourself and open up your own salon.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Well, I never really thought about getting my own salon. That was never a thought of mine.
Okay.
I just, once that salon closed, I was just all over the place. I was going from salon to salon. I may be in a salon 3 months, then leave. Another salon 6 months, then leave. And so I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I'm going to lose my clientele if I keep jumping around from salon to salon. So, eventually it just so happened that the same street, Noble Road, that I started working at, the first salon I ever worked at,
Okay.
there was an empty space there. So I went and talked to the landlord, like, look, I'm 21 years old, but can I rent this space? And, he actually rented the space out to me. I couldn't believe it, so that's where Headlines all started.
And so did you have to add chairs and shampoo bowls, or was it already an established salon?
It was not an established salon. It was actually someone was going to open it up as a salon, but I guess things didn't work out.
Okay.
So it was just an empty space, like a big hole in the floor. It was a mess. But how I initially started was, I think I had maybe like $10,000 to my name.
Okay.
And my aunt, she gave me the other $10,000 to open up the business. And so we were partners in the beginning. But, as we opened up, I had 6 stations. All those stations got filled up very quickly.
Wonderful.
And I just kept expanding. And then I wanted to tear the wall down because there was an empty space next door to me where a phone company closed down.
Okay.
So I wanted to tear the wall down, expand, to a bigger space. And I think my aunt was kind of like, okay, this little girl might be moving a little bit too fast. Let me get out of this before things get out of hand and I lose my money. So she actually wanted to get out of it. So, I paid her back, her $10,000. So it was just solely my business. And it just literally just took off from there.
What
and it's so funny.
Aunt say now?
That's what, yes, it's so funny now. My aunt always tells me that she wish she would have stuck with it.
I bet.
Yes.
So you knocked the wall down and you
Yes.
expanded there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you outgrew there.
Outgrew that
And
salon.
now we're in your salon right now, which is an absolutely beautiful salon. Whoever has not been here, please come check her out. You will love it. So this is your second location?
This is actually my third location.
Okay.
At one time, I had 3 salons at one time, at once. But this was like 2008. We were kind of going through a recession, a kind of tough time. And none of the locations were totally filled up. So I just opened this one up in 2008. So it was kind of like, I have 3 locations. None of them are full. Let me get rid of some of this overhead and just bring everyone to one space. So I sold the location on Noble, which was my first location. Then a year later, my second location on Mayfield, I transitioned that into a barbershop, and then I just carried all my stylists over to this particular location.
Okay, so yes, speaking of barbershop, so we have Headlines by DeFranco, which is this location.
Yes.
We have Barbers by DeFranco.
Barbers by DeFranco that I just recently sold, actually.
Oh, you just, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you are just really operating Headlines by DeFranco and then your clothing boutique,
My
which
new
is
baby, Posh Collection.
Yes, Posh Collection. Okay, so but where does your boldness come from? Like, you are a risk taker. I feel like even just when I think about myself, I sometimes get nervous to do big things. Where does that come from where you could just do it?
I honestly don't know. My brain just operates a certain type of way, which really gets frustrating to me sometimes because I try to tell myself, like, stop, like, that's enough, just stop. But I literally could lay in the bed and just wake up in the middle of the night like, I'm going to do this. Because that's actually where my idea came from, to transition my salon into a barbershop.
Okay.
I was just like, okay, this is becoming too much. There's no need for me to have, multiple locations of a salon and they're all not filled up. And I was going to sell it to a barber for a barbershop. And then I'm like, hey, why would I sell it to a barber and I could just make it a barbershop myself?
Right.
So it's just like my brain, I can't explain it, but it's
okay,
crazy.
But try to tell me. I have to pick your brain, like the boldness, the being able to take a risk. Like, so you have an idea and you literally, do you have fear?
I have fear, but I push through it sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When have you not done something because you were too fearful?
Are
there ideas that are still on the back burner because you're afraid?
I don't think there are fears on the back burner at the moment, but I'm sure there will be. But pretty much everything I've kind of thought of doing, I'm doing right now.
Okay.
So I would love for that one fear to come that, okay, Meechie, this is a
Yeah.
big risk because
Yeah.
I know it'll be worth it if
It'll
I
be
push
worth
forward
it.
and do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so have you always been an entrepreneur? I mean, have you always wanted, when you were a child, did you know that you were going to own something? Like, I'm going to work for myself.
Never.
Never.
I
It just came
never,
about.
no. And then it's like my parents, my mom wasn't an entrepreneur, my father, he wasn't an entrepreneur. But when I was a kid, my grandmother and he wasn't my biological grandfather, but I
Okay.
had known him all my life, so we called him granddad. They
Okay.
actually had a restaurant. And the restaurant had this back room, and I can just remember being a kid, like it had all the huge Atari games, like the big Atari games, the pool tables, all that stuff. So I can remember them running the business, but it just never popped up in my head like, oh, I want to do this one
Okay.
day. Never.
Okay. What is the biggest mistake you've made as a business owner, as an entrepreneur?
The biggest mistake I think I made, but I think it worked out in my favor was probably moving around too fast.
Okay.
Opening up multiple salons, of course it costs.
Mm-hmm.
Other than initially opening up a business, my first business, I never got a loan from anyone. So any business I opened up from that point on was paid out of pocket, out of my pocket. Other people would say differently. It's
Right.
so funny because every time I got a new boyfriend, they swore up and down this boyfriend got me a
Helped
salon.
you do this.
I
Yeah.
wish, I wish I could have had that help, but then
Right,
at the same
right.
time, I'm glad I didn't because guys, they can be kind of funny.
Right,
As soon as
right.
y'all break
True.
up, they want to take everything away
True.
from you. So
True.
I thank God that I was able to do it on my own. But I do feel like I did spend a lot of money, particularly on this location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I know we talked about your faith, and I know that all your success. What do you think that? What also would you contribute to your great success?
My great success.
What would you
That's a
contribute
good
that to?
question. I really think it started with that particular article. That article, like I really got from that you're gonna stand out, Meechie, and it hasn't been easy for me at all. Like people look at me and just think I have it so good, but they don't know what all came with this success. And it's like people say they want it, but they truly do not understand what comes with it. You have to be a strong person to be successful. And I put my mind in, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what people say about me. My creativity, my talent is going to get me through life, and I don't care what it takes to get there. So
Yes.
I really like contribute my success to that. Just having a strong mind and just not caring what other people think about me.
Yes. So tell me, did you have to work to get there? Because I know that just being humans, comments hurt. People say things to us that hurt us. We all want to be included. We all want to, be liked. I mean, that's just like a natural, innate thing in us. So when you do have the haters and you do have the critics, how did you get to a point of letting it roll off your shoulders? Did you have to do your own work? Did you have to look in the mirror like Mary Jane with your post-it notes like I will be successful? Like what was that like for you?
It's so crazy because when I look back at my life, I've always gone through this. Like I think God was preparing me for this moment since a young girl. Like I've always been a loner. I've always felt like an outsider. I never ever felt like I fit in. You would have the girls who would have the cliques, the 3 or 4 best. I never had that.
That is so hard to believe.
I never had. I was always kind of like forcing myself to fit in somewhere, and I honestly truly believe that God said, no, this is not what I want for you, because if you get too caught up in that, it's going to be hard for me to put you in the space that I want you to be in. He wanted people to look up to me, not me just being in a crowd looking up, to someone else. So I've gone through that since day one.
Yeah.
Day one. So it's so crazy. I can remember one time I was in the 6th grade and nobody liked me. Nobody liked me. So I had this guy who liked me. He was like the most popular guy in the 6th grade. So we were going together, if that's what you want to call it.
Right.
So all the girls in my class hated me, and all the girls in the other 6th grade class hated me. So this was back when there were no cell phones or anything. So they were playing on the phone. You didn't have caller ID. You didn't know who was calling your house. So they would call my house saying, I'm beating you up tomorrow. I'm beating you up tomorrow. I would literally cry.
I know, I
Literally
bet,
cry.
yes.
So I can recall the next morning coming and me sitting on the couch crying. My mother worked third shift, so she would just be asleep. Like my mom was just asleep. So I remember my cousin, he thought he was like a kung fu master. He walked past me and asked me what was wrong. I'm like, well, they said they were going to beat me up
Right.
at school. So my cousin gave me some brass knuckles. So I went to school, and literally, when I turned the corner to the stairs, there were two girls waiting for me. And so the girl, she did try to fight me. Lucky for me, I had my little,
Right, brass knuckles,
and
right?
I beat this girl up. So it's so crazy. After I beat the girl up, her friend was there to witness it. So she had to go back and tell everybody that I won the fight. After I won this fight, it's like everybody at the school wanted to be my friend. Like I felt like it was one of those hip hip
Yes.
hooray moments where they should have stood me up, held me up on their
Right,
shoulder, and
right,
walked me
right,
through the school. And it's like
right,
after that,
right.
everybody wanted to be my friend. But the only bad thing that came out of that was that I carried that on through life. That the only way you're going to get respected is you have to fight or you have to act a certain way to gain respect.
That's
So
good.
that's the bad thing that came out of that. And it took me a long time to get that out of my system. Like, you don't have to do that anymore. That was that moment. Now it's time to move on from that.
That's
Actually,
good.
when she get the name DeFranco.
Okay, yes. So headlines by DeFranco. Well, I know your last name is Francis, right? So is that a play on, or is it totally something different?
Yes. No, DeFranco is Demetria Francis and Company. I don't know
Oh,
how
so
I
the
come up with
D
it.
is for
The
Demetria.
DE is for Demetria, the FRAN is for Francis, and the CO is for Company.
Oh, that's perfect. No, that worked out really good.
And I really wanted to end up I changed my salon name like 3 times. It was like something really
What were the
long.
other names? Do you even remember?
Headlines Hair and Nail Studio, then Headlines Exclusive Styling Studio,
Okay.
then Headlines by DeFranco. And I honestly wanted to change it again to just like DeFranco Salon or DeFranco
Okay.
Studio, but I'm like, just leave it alone.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Maybe one day.
So let's be honest. Your name rings bells. You can just say Meechie. You can say headlines, and people know exactly what you're talking about. How do you embrace being the hair queen of Cleveland and that brand itself?
Well, honestly, it took me a long time to embrace being the queen, but you know, I'm 42 now. I've earned that title.
Yes.
I worked hard for that title.
Yes.
You know, but I think it came from me really being passionate about what I do. It's like being a hairstylist is not really taken serious. A lot of people look at it as that backup career where if this doesn't work out, if I don't go to college, or if I don't get the job that I want, oh, let me go to hair school. And it's almost like an insult because there's a lot of hard work
Yes.
that goes into, you know, our career because
Yes.
that's what it is. It's not a job, it's a career. So I think I became very well respected for what I do because I took it serious and was very passionate about it, and I still am.
Yeah. Well, I got goosebumps when you said I earned this, and I think that is so true. I don't think people realize that, and they want you to sometimes, you know, because you're up here. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
are.
Thank you.
You are, and I know that probably is hard to receive or hear somebody say, but it really is true, and it's because of your work ethic and the things that you've accomplished. So yes, own that title because it is yours.
Thank you so much.
So, being that you are, you know, as such an established business owner and also a stylist, I know people always ask you for advice. And I'm sure, you know, young stylists who want to one day own their own salon is always ask you like how. So, can you just talk to them and tell them what would be some of the advice that you would give a young lady who just graduated from cosmetology school, but she wants to one day open up her own salon?
Well, one thing I would say to you guys is don't try to move too fast. You have plenty of time to become an entrepreneur. But what I've noticed in the industry that you get a lot of young ladies that want to step right out of hair school and they want to go right into owning a business when you really have to learn about the business first. Like get under someone who inspires you, who you look up to, learn the game from them. And then it's pretty much, I won't say it's easy from that point on, but you'll understand it a little bit better. But I think that's the biggest mistake that a lot of the young ladies in the hair industry are making is that they're just moving way too fast. Now it's like now with social media out, Instagram, all that stuff, everybody wants to be that big person too fast. You have 1,000,001 salons now that, and half of them aren't even making any money
Yeah.
because it's all about a title now.
Yes.
It's all about a title, and
I
it
get
really
that.
shouldn't be that way.
I get that. So, do you recommend a young girl skip? I know you have nothing against salon lofts and you probably really like them, but do you recommend for somebody to probably just go into an actual salon and work amongst other stylists and be up under somebody? Or do you say go to salon loft first and have your own thing?
I am not a fan of salon
Okay,
lofts. And
okay.
I've actually had a few stylists that have tried to work at the salon lofts and
Okay.
actually came back. Because one thing you don't want to get caught up in is just, you know, working by yourself. You have to be around other people to learn the trends. One
Yes.
thing I do, the older I get, I make sure I keep me some young girls working for me because they're the ones that know how to do the quick weaves
Okay.
and the vixen sew-ins
Yes.
and the frontals and
Yes.
all that stuff. So if you're working in a salon loft all by yourself, you can get lost and you can get behind. And you'll find yourself just not even knowing how to keep up with the latest trends.
Right.
When I moved to LA, I actually worked in a salon loft and it lasted like 30 days.
Okay.
They had me in a contract for a year, but I pretty much begged them, like, let me out of this contract. I can't do it. I
Okay.
love being around people. And
Yeah.
I think everyone should learn how to work around people because that salon loft thing was kind of lonely, actually.
Okay. So speaking of LA, okay, no, you're good. Okay, so speaking of LA, I follow you on social media, so I will always see you going from Cleveland to LA, and I know that for a period of time you actually lived in LA.
Yes.
So can you tell me about your journey to LA, what brought you there, and then what brought you back to Cleveland?
So what actually started this whole journey to LA was I listened to a lot of TD Jakes.
Okay.
Like TD Jakes
Yes.
is like life to
Yes,
me.
Bishop.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, Bishop TD Jakes. So
Yes.
I was getting dressed one morning. I was listening to one of his sermons about a lion, like a lion being in a cage. Like basically, okay, say you go to the zoo and you visit this lion,
Yes.
and this lion has water, he has food, he has everything he needs, but he's a lion.
Yeah.
So it may look good, but this lion is in a cage. This lion belongs in this huge jungle. So it's almost like you're being trapped. So it's like that's how I start feeling like, you know, I want to take my talent somewhere else. I want to try something different. I'm tired of being stuck in this one industry. And that's so crazy that just popping up in my head, even though it didn't work out in LA for me, it's working out now. Like this literally just popped up in my head where I'm transitioning from being in the hair industry to the fashion industry. Wow, that just gave me goosebumps.
Yes.
Because that was my cage, being in the hair industry. Oh, this is what you're gonna do for the rest of your life, when it's not, because now I'm transitioning into doing
fashion.
something else.
Yes,
You don't
apparel.
have to be stuck doing one thing or trapped in that cage. You can move on and do other things. So that's just crazy because that literally just popped up in my head. Like,
Yes.
that's what he
Yes.
was telling me. It wasn't necessarily that I had to take my talent to a different city. It was him telling me it's okay to do something different. You don't have to do the same thing for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so is that fearful? Because we're going to talk about Posh Collection, which I cannot wait to talk about. But is that fearful to step out into a new place? Like, 'cause was that what you were telling yourself, that maybe I can't do this? I've done this for so long. I'm successful in this area. This is what everyone knows me as. This is my brand. And now I'm about to. So what is that like?
I actually, when I was moving to LA, I was getting kind of just like tired, like of the same repetitive routine, coming into the salon, standing behind the styling chair, doing hair, going home, coming back, doing the same thing over and over again. So I felt like if I went to LA and I started working with these big time, you know, celebrities and all that stuff, that would change things for me. But that didn't work out for me because I'm still like my own person. I'm still an entrepreneur, and it's hard for me to work for somebody. Before I could do about 50, 60, 70 clients a week, to now I'm just down to maybe about 20, and that's enough because I'm just not the same stylist that I was before. You know, I'm getting older, so it's kind of hard on me now, and it's almost like it's telling me, okay, this part of your life is slowing down because now you have this new career that you need to take off. If things are still going too well right here, I'll never get
It'll never
to
push
this
you.
point. Exactly.
That's good. So we have Posh Collection. So tell me about that. How did the idea come? I know it started online. And did it always, was it just at first hair product and hair?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, Posh started as a hashtag. I literally was just having this stupid conversation with one of my friends. You know, everybody puts, you know, hashtag fancy hashtags
Right.
on their Instagram page. So
Right.
I hashtag poshed up, thinking I'm cute. Hashtag poshed up. So a friend of mine told me I should start selling hair extensions. So once I started selling hair extensions, I'm like, well, what name should I come up with? So I'm like, Posh. So she's like, yeah, call it Posh. So Posh went from a hashtag to hair extensions to my own hair care products. Now it's a whole boutique.
Wow.
I sell apparel, everything in there, and that all started with a simple hashtag.
And in the stuff you sell, the articles of clothing you have are so beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm always looking on your Instagram like, that's dope. I love that. I like that. So where's your inspiration? Because you do all the buying.
I do
So are you
all
at
the
the magic
buying.
shows and?
Well, I'm
where you-
actually going to my first magic show
Okay.
this year.
Okay.
So right now I'm going to the different fashion districts and getting my apparel from there. But I do just have a certain particular look that I want for my boutique, and it's more so I think like this: if I wouldn't wear it, don't get it.
Okay.
You know, I
Yes.
don't want to just sell something to make money. I actually want people to look good.
What would you describe that style as?
It's very like edgy. I like leathers,
Okay.
suedes, silk, stuff like that. Not a lot of prints. I'm
Okay.
more into just like
Fabrics.
solid.
and-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And solid colors
Yes.
more so.
More
Yeah.
so solid colors.
Definitely edgy. I love it. I love
Thank
it
you.
all. I really do. So are you still back in LA to Cleveland, or are you pretty much just you're here?
Well, I live back in Cleveland. I moved back. Cleveland
Okay.
is home. But I do, LA has become a part of my life since starting, you know, the apparel line. So I'm back and forth from Cleveland to LA like once a month.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to do business.
Just to do business.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. What would you say about how have you used social media to help your brand? And also talk to us about Mad About Meechie.
Okay. Well, social media right now is crucial to your brand.
Okay.
You know, I remember, you know, just starting out doing hair when social media didn't exist. You know, it was word of mouth, which really, that made the tougher stylist then, because your grind was all about your customers,
Yes.
you know, talking about you and speaking highly of you, where now they have social media. It's a little easier to reach people, but it's very crucial to your brand. And the name Mad About Meechie is so funny because Mad About Meechie is really like, you know, a person just admiring my lifestyle, my fashion, my hair, just all things Meechie. It's not the mad Meechie,
Right,
like
right.
you mad at me. It's not that. It's just we love Meechie. We love what
Yes.
she represents, what she does. So I don't know how I came up with it, but I think I'm a controversial person, so it's almost like, you know, you take it how you, if you want to be the mad
Right.
or the good mad,
Yes.
it's up to you.
It's all good.
Exactly.
And my name is still out there.
It's still out
Yes,
there.
Yes. So speaking about social media, you have a huge YouTube following. You have like over 200,000 subscribers.
Yes.
And what I love about your videos and whenever I watch a tutorial is you're just yourself.
I'm just myself.
And how has just being yourself worked for you?
I think people like authenticity, like they can see it. They know when people are being fake. I know when people are being fake. I can look on social media and you'll see somebody say something or do something, and honestly, you be looking at your phone like,
Right.
girl, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I think that's, you know, why people kind of appreciate what I do, because I've always been myself since day one, whether it's negative or positive. I'm going to do me,
Yeah.
you know?
And I love how even when you make a mistake, you show your bloopers, you laugh at yourself.
Yes.
Has that helped you, like when you, even in your actual entrepreneur and business sense, and when you made a mistake, just
Yes, because I think it helps people like get to know you. Like, because if you have people looking at you from a phone or a computer, it's hard to get to know your personality if you're trying to be perfect. And I'm letting people know I'm not trying to be perfect, so they'll know they don't have to be perfect. So we started adding those bloopers just so people can kind of get a
Yes.
insight on who Meechie really is.
I think that was great because
Yeah.
it made me connect to you. I know you, but I know if I was just watching that, I would be like, "She's, I want to meet her."
I don't
Or,
want them to think I'm
I
just
can
this
go there.
serious
Yes.
woman that just
Exactly.
takes life so serious, because that's
Exactly.
not me at all.
Exactly. And so I wanted to ask you about sometimes in this industry, from the outside looking in, because I'm not a part of the hair industry, but it could seem as if some of the salons are catty or it's a lot of competition and I don't want you to learn this, I don't want you to know this. not only do you do tutorials to show people what you know, but you bring salons together.
Yes.
Like you just did this whole kick ball game,
Tournament.
Tournament with different salons. I know you've done colorblind with other salons where you not only showcase everything that you're doing here, but other salons. What motivates you to bring other people along?
Because I'm not afraid of competition, and the industry is so divided. It's just it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like since I do have people that look up to me, I feel like that's kind of my place to kind of like help bring the industry together. So I do as much as I can. Like even with the tutorials, I've had people tell me, you need to stop doing those tutorials because business is slowing down because you showing everybody how to do hair and this and that. But I've always been that person that want to help people, that want to bring people together because that's what we're here for. God is not going to bless you if he gives you a talent or gives you a gift and you keep it in for yourself.
Yes.
What good is it if you holding it in?
That's so
it's
good.
meant for you to share. So
Yes.
I've always been that person that tries to bring people together and just really try to help people out.
Speaking of helping people out, tell us about Me, Myself, and I, self-empowerment.
Oh my gosh, me, myself. I really wish I could do so much more with that.
Okay.
But it's something I just started. It's supposed to be like a foundation for the youth.
Yes.
You know, empowering them, like getting them going at what they want to become in life and
Yes.
just building their confidence level. And so we actually had the opportunity to do a hair show for the kids. And the kids in the hair show, it was from age 3 to I believe 13,
Okay.
and I can honestly say that was the best hair show I ever did because there was a purpose behind it. And then the money that we earned from the hair show, we actually gave away to a family. There was this family in Cleveland a few years ago where 5 people got killed. The little girl's mom, I think her father, and the little girl got shot in the chest, but she actually survived. And it's so crazy. I was at the Word Church, and so I'm sitting next to this little girl in church. And so the little girl's just like, you know, sitting there. You know how little kids are just kind of bored in church. So she said something to me. I wish I could remember what she said to me. But I just looked at her. And so she just started talking to me. And then she told me, she was like, yeah, I got a hole in my chest or something. So I'm like looking at her. And when she told me that she got shot or something, I started putting a story together in my head. Like, this is the little girl that survived.
Yes.
So it just brought me to tears then, like, okay, God, this is my moment. Let me try to do something to help this family out. So I reached out to her brother through her grandmother who she was with at church. I talked to him on the phone, and her brother is the one who's taking care of her and her smaller brother now. He was like 21 at the time. So I'm like, I have to do something for this family. So that's when we did the first Me, Myself, and I fashion show, and we actually were able to donate $3,000 to them. So
that's a
I just
blessing.
felt so good doing that.
Yes, I know you did.
Yes.
It's better to give. It really is.
It's better
It
to
really
give,
is. It
yes,
really is.
because God is going to give it back to you tenfold. So,
Yes.
you know,
So
it was
speaking about
wonderful.
helping other people, have you ever had a time in your life where you needed help or a life-changing event that you really had to like call on God and he answered your prayer?
Well, I've definitely had a life-changing event. I've definitely had a moment where, you know, I won't say I needed help, but I needed like a listening ear. So, you know, I would say like 2014 was a tough year for me. And I'll back up from that, where a life-changing event that happened to me was she was my best friend in high school. So she actually died. She was like one of the first people I met when I moved to Cleveland. We were roommates. We got our first apartment together. We were 19. We were pregnant at the same time. And so we were pregnant at the same time. We had our daughters like a month apart, not even a month apart, 3 weeks apart. So we're on the phone like, yeah, let's move out. We moving out of our mother's houses. You know, they getting on my nerves.
Right.
We got our first apartment together on Euclid and Summerwood Apartments. We stayed together for probably like 8 months, but then she ended up meeting like the love of her life, and she got married and moved out. So, you know, we kept in touch, you know, every time she got pregnant, because she ended up having more kids. So every time she got pregnant, she would call me and always just check up on me. So one particular time, I know we had a conversation. She said she had got her tubes tied, so she wasn't having any more kids. So she ended up getting pregnant again behind this. So she actually had stopped up here to Headlines, where I'm located now, to tell me that she was pregnant, but I had left the salon to go grab something to eat. So they called me on the phone and put her on the phone. So I talked to her on the phone. She told me she was pregnant and that, you know, she was having another baby. She'll be contacting me for the baby shower and all that. So, like a few months later, I got a call from another friend of ours that we went to high school with. So I'm thinking she's calling me to give me the details on the baby shower, but she actually was calling me to tell me that she passed away while giving birth. So she was 32 at the time, and this actually happened like a couple of days before my birthday. So I can just remember on my birthday,
Yeah.
I'm doing my best friend's
Yeah.
hair for her funeral.
For her funeral.
And I can recall, like, and she was the sweetest person ever. The sweetest person ever. I've always seen her laugh and always seen her smiling. So I can recall, like, for months, weeks and months after that, I would just be laying in the bed. And I started asking myself, why am I here? Because, you know, she was married. That was her 5th child. She was married for 13 years. I wasn't married. I was still hanging out in the club, fighting. You know, every year, every couple of years, my name would be circulating the streets off some negative mess that I was in. So I was just laying in bed one day like, you know, why am I here? You know, she's gone. I'm out here living this reckless life, and God still has me here for a reason. So that's when I decided I have to change. I have to change who I am, because the thing is, I would let a lot of things that people would say about me bother me. And that incident from 6th grade carried on through my life. Okay, you said, what about me? You want to do what? Let's fight.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
to the point where I ended up, I've been in jail before and been on probation, house arrest, all that stuff. So that's the moment that I decided, okay, I have to change who Meechie is. I don't want to be this negative person anymore, because this girl is gone and I'm still here for a reason. So that right there, and it's like my grandmother, she passed away the following year, but I felt it was just something about my best friend passing away. I felt like my grandmother, I missed her so much, but she got a chance to live a full life. Whereas my friend, her life was gone at 32, giving life. And her life was taken, and I was still here. So I would say I was 33, and that totally changed my life.
I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. I can't even imagine what it's like to lose a best friend. But what I do know is that you honored her.
I did.
You
Thank
really
you.
did, by the changes that you made to be a better person. And that was just the best honor that you could ever give somebody.
Thank you.
So that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I recently found out on your Instagram page that you found love.
I found love.
You found love.
Yeah, finally, it's about time. Like, I've been getting it wrong for so long. It's about time.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So what I want to know about that is, how has that changed you?
It has changed me a lot. It's really hard though. Relationships are a lot of work because you have to compromise. I'm learning that, but he's a great guy. And the crazy thing about it is, we actually had dated 20 years ago.
Okay.
Like, he remembers us picking up my daughter when she was a kid. And, you know, I used to always say my daughter had narcolepsy because she would just fall asleep anywhere. So he always tells me stories about how we would pick her up and she would be asleep. One minute she would be talking, the next minute she would be asleep in the back seat.
Okay.
So we have a lot of stories from when we used to date, but I actually told him back then that he was too nice for me.
Okay.
So me telling him that God brought every bad boy he possibly could find and put him in my life and really gave me something to compare him to, and he is just one of the best things that has happened to me.
Don't you feel like you needed that, though, those bad guys to let you know what a good guy is really like?
You definitely need it because you want to appreciate him. You'll
wanna
look at him like, oh,
why
I
do
want a
we
little
do
bit.
that?
I don't know.
Why do we want the street dudes?
I don't know, but that's all I used to be
Right.
attracted to.
Yeah.
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 But I
I think a
finally
lot
got
of
it
women have
right.
that story though.
Yes.
And then when you find somebody that's right, it's like, what was I thinking?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think this was the perfect time for me because absolutely, if I would have dated him sooner, if we
Yeah.
would have really went forward with it,
It wouldn't have
I
went
know
through.
I would have ruined it. Not
Okay.
him. I would have definitely ruined it.
Okay. So how do you balance love, being an entrepreneur, owning your businesses, still being a stylist, back and forth to LA? How do you balance it all?
Well, I think the balance comes from having a great support system too. Like you have to, when you're in love, you're dating or, just really, really you found that true love. Like they have to be very supportive of your career. They have to understand the type of person you are and not try to water you down. So I think my support system really helps me. My mom, my current boyfriend, they let me be me. They know that I'm crazy about my career. They know I'm passionate about what I do. So, they help me with it. Whatever areas I need help in, they're there for me. And I think everyone needs that. Otherwise, you're going to be battling back and forth, trying to give one thing time, give another thing time. And when you're giving something half your time, it's never going to be successful.
That's so true. What is the best thing about being Meechie?
The best thing about being Meechie is probably just seeing who I've become, just looking back and watching my growth. And the best thing that I love about myself now is that I have so many young girls that look up to me.
That's so true.
Like it's just so crazy. I'm like, I am 42 years old and I have like 18, 19-year-old girls in my
so true.
DMs. Like,
Yes.
Meechie, can you be my mentor? Can you do
Yes.
this? Where, years ago that probably wouldn't have happened because I was a different person then. But now it's like, I'm really happy with who I am. I really, truly am. But it took a lot of growth.
Yes. Do you see yourself as a mentor?
I do see myself as a mentor.
Okay.
And I think that's the reason why I do the tutorials because
Yeah.
my time is so limited now. I'm trying to do a lot of things. So that's kind of my way in helping them out is by putting those videos out. You can watch that video anytime
Right.
you need to. I try to put as much information as I can out, on my YouTube page just to help them out because I wish we had that, when I was younger, but it was just so much harder, to become a success then because
Right.
the grind was harder. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'm just trying to make it easier
Right.
for them.
Yes, that's great. So what's next for Meechie?
What's next for Meechie? Well, I hope I'll be married soon.
Okay,
I
right.
think I will be.
Yes.
And just starting off on this path of fashion,
Yes.
just really trying to, learn the ins and outs of that because I love it. It comes natural. So I think me right now, I truly am transitioning. And it's kind of scary. I've been a hairstylist for over
Right.
20 years. So
Yes.
just that transition from being a hairstylist to a fashion
Yes.
designer
Yes.
or, so I
Yes.
think that's what's truly next for me because that's easier to me. That's
Oh,
easier.
really?
That's the
Yes.
easy money. You don't have
Okay.
to stand
Right,
and work
right,
hard
right,
to make your dollar.
right.
You just order them clothes, get them in, and sell them. So
That's good.
I'm excited about that.
That's good. Please tell our viewers how we can support you.
I do need you guys' support, so make sure you follow me on IG at Mad About Meechie as well as YouTube Mad About Meechie. Check out my boutique Posh Collection, iloveposhcollection.com. Apparel, hair extensions, hair care. I got everything you guys need, but thank you so much and I appreciate you guys' support.